do have Bob DeCastro out there in the field. We have numerous reporters all across the area. But Bob, with the latest on the Woodley Fire that just erupted this morning in the Sepulveda Basin.
Yeah, we heard about this fire from that press conference that we attended at 8 o'clock this morning that brought together county and city leaders. They had announced that this Woodley Fire had broken out at around 6:30 this morning, and we came out here to check it out because they were calling it a major fire, a fourth fire. And here's what we're looking at right now. This is some actually pretty good news here. When it broke out at 6:30 this morning, they called this at 75 acres. They hit it pretty hard, and they're actually backtracking on that now, saying that this has burned some 30 acres, and firefighters hit this very hard, very quickly, and they were able to sort of contain it to this short area here. It's being called the Woodley Fire because this is happening in the Sepulveda Basin near Woodley and Burbank. And one of the big concerns is, of course, this is very close to a highly populated area near the 405 and the 101, so really close to the San Fernando Valley and all of these neighborhoods surrounding here. And with the winds that we had here this morning, there was a huge concern for spot fires. The good news, from what I can glean here, and some of the police officers here on the scene were saying that the firefighters got here pretty quickly. They were able to basically contain it, and I'm just using that word contain, but to keep it, to confine it to this area. And there wasn't, the vegetation here was mostly grass and not as many trees, and so there weren't as many spot fires that were produced as a result of that. So as it stands right now, it does look like they have a handle on this situation, but obviously they've got crews out here to make sure that they're putting out any hot spots to prevent this from spreading any further. One of the really big concerns that they have, of course, is the resources. What kind of resources do they have to fight this fire? One of the things they talked about this morning was the lack of personnel. So to have yet another fire, a fourth fire that is being fought out here, would definitely stretch that resource even further, but it looks like they can start dedicating other resources to other areas, including the Palisades fire, which continues to be the biggest fire that is being fought at this hour. So it is a difference here, I will tell you, as we stand out here in the Sepulveda Basin, and the sun we could see somewhat shining there, even in downtown LA with all of the smoke that we saw from the Eaton fire. It was very dark, a shroud over the downtown area, and it was very dark. It almost felt like a different part of the day. So the good news is we don't see very large plumes of smoke here, and it does look like firefighters for now have a handle on this. I did, by the way, as I sent it back to you, did talk to Councilwoman Tracy Park, who represents that area in the Palisades, and she talked specifically about that issue of water resources. And the DWP was very defensive this morning about that situation and said, even though Rick Caruso had mentioned that the reservoir was not filled completely, they said all of the tanks prior to this were filled completely, that they knew that this was coming and made sure that those tanks were filled completely. But still, this was an unprecedented event, and the amount of usage there during that time just depleted all of the water in a short amount of time. And because all the hoses were on, they weren't giving the velocity that they might have needed to fight that fire. And very quickly, they said some of those water resources were replenished. The problem is, Tracy Park was saying, is that we have known about this for a long time. Why is the infrastructure not kept up with the times right now, with the amount of people that are living in this area? This is still a really big concern moving forward, that we don't have the infrastructure in place to handle situations like this.
A lot of big questions, and certainly that discussion will continue after we get through these events. Thank you so much, Bob. And what a difference just a few miles makes north of you in the San Fernando Valley, where the Hearst fire is right now. So clearly where Bob is, a very different scene.
Things
Blue
can
skies.
change on a dime.
Yep, that's right.